On behalf of everyone here at the Villanova University Charles Widger School of Law, welcome to the class of 2020. I'm the Dean, Mark Alexander, and I'm just thrilled that you're all here today. Last year, I stood here addressing my first incoming class at Villanova Law, and I had a vision coming in as Dean for what our school and our community could be. I came here with great optimism for what I saw, and I am really so proud after being here for a year that the hopes and dreams I had are really the reality. This is a truly special place, and you, our new students, will make our community even better, and we will help to make you better as well. Today is the first day of a great new chapter for you. You have taken the crucial first step in becoming a Villanova lawyer. Together, you are embarking on an exciting adventure. You're launching a transformative journey, hand in hand, side by side. You're entering a profession, one I am quite proud to be a part of. It is a noble profession. Lawyers help people with needs. We are all joined in this common pursuit, and more specifically, you are joined together from this day forward. In the old paper chase model of law school, on the first day, the dean would say, "Look to your left and look to your right." In a year from now, one of these people will no longer be with us. Well, I not only reject that, but I offer an alternative. Take a look to your left and a look to your right. Really, do it. Shake hands, introduce yourselves. Please, introduce yourselves. Yeah, faculty, you can do it too. Say hello to each other. So, the person you are meeting now, including my faculty got to say hello to each other after the summer, but the person you just met will be a partner at a law firm, a prosecutor, a judge, a corporate general counsel, and more. You see, all of you entering today will know each other and will work with each other. In 3 years, you'll graduate together. In 10 years, you'll negotiate a deal across the table from each other. In 15 years, one of you will be arguing a motion in front of another who is a judge. You see the point. So, starting today, think of yourselves as lawyers, as colleagues, and yes, even as friends. So I look out at you, and that's what I see. I see an extraordinary group of individuals, lawyers, colleagues, and friends. I am confident you will make excellent lawyers. You come from 20 different states in the District of Columbia. Some of you came straight from college. Some started working before coming here. You went to colleges as wide-ranging as Loyola University, Fairfield University, NYU, Robert Morris University, Virginia Tech. Some of you worked as financial analysts, mechanical engineers, landscapers, but now you're all here. We are a community. So what's the nature of this community that you're joining? As I see it, we are bound by a mission to serve as lawyers. We must be empathetic to our clients and to each other as we walk these halls. We must act with civility. Our faculty, seated up front here, will extend themselves to you. They will maintain an open-door policy. They will listen and advise. They will not always agree with you, nor you with them. But we all will come with an open mind and an open heart. Here at Villanova Law, we celebrate our diversity and actively seek to expose ourselves to varying viewpoints. We ask the tough, sometimes uncomfortable questions, and we learn from each other. In this very space, in the commons here where we are sitting, our community gathers to discuss the day's most relevant issues. From travel bans to Supreme Court nominations, we explore the legal and societal impact of breaking news. And we do all of this in a nonpartisan way. We find common ground in our passion for the law and our commitment to country. And we must continue to ask the hard ethical questions, because the study of law is meaningless without a moral compass to guide. So we won't always agree, but we'll be stronger because of our conversations. And I say this to you to remind you that we are a community. We are a family. We are brothers and sisters in this family of ours. It is part of our Augustinian mission of our university. And our university motto, just up there, Veritas, Unitas, Caritas. We are a community. That really, to me, is the Unitas part. And it's my honor to welcome you to this community. So I welcome you here today as the dean, but also I was once in your shoes. I have been a law student, go figure that. And I have some insight into what you can expect in the next 3 years. Because law school is truly a transformative time. When I look back on it, I'm amazed at how much I learned. And what I understand with hindsight is that while I learned so much from within the books that weighed me down, and they get heavier every year, it seems, but I learned so much more from my teachers, from my friends, my classmates, my family, about what I was becoming. So I want to share with you some of what I think will be important in these coming years for you as law students and in the years that follow as lawyers. So today, with the rest of my time, I want to talk to you about courage. And as lawyers, we must embody the courage that our clients might not be able to muster. See, you'll have clients who might not have the knowledge, the experience, the training that you will. Your clients will need an advocate, a problem solver, an advisor. So being a good lawyer means taking that client, gaining her confidence, and confirming that the faith she placed in you is not mislaid. But it's more than that. We're training for this life after law school as a lawyer. And this step you're taking, which you'll do on Thursday, by the way, you'll take a professional oath tomorrow. That'll be your first step towards this professional life. And your success in that life will require more than just advocacy. It requires courage. Courage in deciding what to do with yourself in your professional life. This is a noble profession, but too many disrespect it. So you and we need to find the courage to protect our profession and the law by looking inwardly all the time and acting with courage in our lives as lawyers. So you may say, well, what does it mean to be courageous as a lawyer? I'll offer a few ideas for you. First, have the courage to take a risk. Take a risk for a client. Take a client with a dream for a company and help that client start and grow that company. Take a client who has a problem that the law has never addressed. Or take a client who says he or she has suffered at the hands of the powerful but who cannot afford to pay you a big fee. Have the courage not to say, come back when you've got some money. Second thought, have the courage to take on a client or a cause which may seem like a long shot, perhaps unpopular. You'll have plenty of routine cases, and plenty of transactions will be relatively free from controversy, but you should also have the courage to take on the case that will challenge, the case that will keep you up at nights. Don't simply watch the world go by and accept the status quo. To paraphrase Robert F. Kennedy, don't simply see things as they are and ask why, but imagine that which is not and ask, why not? So how else can we show courage as members of this noble profession? Third idea, have the courage to keep an open mind about your future job in the law. Work in government, perhaps. Go into business, or even the most radical concept, become a law professor. You see, in coming to law school, you made a very big decision to commit yourself to a profession, the legal profession. You're lawyers, you're professionals. So you chose this profession, but you did not choose a job. Most of you will be practicing lawyers, and that's wonderful. But you might set your sights on public service as a judge, or maybe you'll be in-house counsel for a company. Or you can take the path of Nelson Mandela, or baseball manager Tony La Russa, American Express CEO Ken Chenault, or the artist Henri Matisse, all of whom studied law. So whether in practice or elsewhere, you'll always be pleasantly surprised at how your legal education and your training, how well it serves you. So that's some things for you to think about down the line. I want you to think aspirationally today about your life as lawyers. And let me just bring it down to what you're going to do in law school. So as you embark on this journey, I want to help you be prepared for the tasks ahead. See, you need not only have courage as a lawyer, but you do need some courage to get through law school itself. I mean, we're really nice here, don't get me wrong, but you'll need some courage. Because I remember how I felt, the feeling pit in my stomach on the day I started law school, and I applaud the courage that you displayed by dedicating yourself, applying, and coming here today. So let me tell you a few things I think you need to think about in terms of courage to get through law school. First, I encourage you to have the courage to speak in class, particularly when you're not sure how your answer will be received. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. In a few days from now, you'll be sitting in a classroom, wondering, what's going to happen? There's going to be that moment. One of these very kind individuals here will call on you. I remember very, very clearly being called on in the first class session of many of my classes. This is the advantage or disadvantage of having a last name that begins with A. Professors who start on the roster, first day, Mr. Alexander. But I was ready, and you will be too. Now, you may be tempted to try some of the classic avoidance techniques that have been honed by generations of 1Ls before you, hoping the professor will not call on you. 3 of my favorites. There's the slump down, right, where you sort of slump down, and you think the professor's not going to see you. See how far you can slide down in that chair. We still see you. Then there's the look down, where you just you pretend you're really, I'm so engaged, I'm writing such important notes. I can't possibly be more engaged in this. Oh, this is the most interesting. You pretend you're reading the case. And then, there's always the stare down. I always love this one. The student is just like, I see you. Call on me, I dare you, right? That's your gambit there, right? I'm just going to stare at the professor, and that no way will the professor call on me. Well, whatever the techniques you think about, resist the urge to avoid, right? Have the courage to volunteer in class. Raise your hand, speak up, even, or maybe especially when you're not sure if you've got a good, so to speak, or right answer. That's the risk worth taking. Your classmates, I promise, your classmates will be there for you, and they'll appreciate your example. See, we're in the business of ideas. We are seeking the truth. Actually, that's the veritas part. Again, you can look up there. That's the veritas part of what we're doing, the business of ideas, and we must be willing to try them out to see if they work. We learn by speaking out with care and courage to see how our ideas will be received. Now, some of our ideas will be praised and others will be criticized, and we must learn from both experiences. We must gather our courage to speak when we are unsure of the reaction that awaits our words. So let me offer a second idea about how to have courage as a law student. Have the courage not to judge the person who puts herself out there, raises her hand, and expresses her ideas. So when someone else speaks, listen first, then analyze the idea, then respond to it. Address the issue, speak constructively, and all the while have the courage not to brand the person. Treat the person with whom you disagree with civility and kindness. That attitude is too sorely lacking today. It is particularly lacking in today's political environment. We are so much better than the sound bites and rhetoric that swirl around us every day. And here in our community, here in Villanova Law School, we have the courage to rise to our best selves and not to reduce ourselves to lesser state. Third thing to think about courage. In law school, keep your perspective. Have the courage to keep your perspective. So you've probably heard horror stories about law school being so hard, so terrible. Well, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you it's easy. Law school is hard. You will work hard, probably harder than you have ever worked before in school. I hope you do. But have the courage to keep your perspective. It's hard, but have fun. Law school can and should be enjoyable. Have the courage to make it so. Take the time to make friends among your classmates, for these folks will be your friends and professional colleagues for life. So remember that look left and look right thing we did a few minutes ago, right? These are your friends, your colleagues forever, right? So between the long hours of studying and reading your Con Law and Civ Pro and all your other courses, enjoy yourself, your friends, and your family. They are the ones who got you here. They will get you through, and they'll be there for you when you graduate. So just keep that courage as students. So you've chosen this path. It's not always an easy path. Sometimes you will choose things which are difficult. Sometimes life throws things at you which are challenging. But don't take anything for granted. It's too easy simply to let each day go by, accept what it has, and do more than what is asked of you. So I urge you, don't take the easy road. Keep challenging yourself here. You know, it's easy to go to class and then just to go home, rather than sticking around for a debate on the death penalty or free speech, because some discussions, they're hard. It's easy to take on the same type of case as a lawyer over and over again. Familiar territory is quite comforting. It's easy to avoid difficult challenges and unpopular cases, for controversy is unsettling. It's easy to focus solely on limited tasks that are in front of you and to perform those tasks in a mechanical fashion. See, stretching ourselves, stretching boundaries, it's a good challenge. And it's easy to settle for the daily routine. Change can be difficult. See, the challenge in being a lawyer worthy of this profession, worthy of being a student in the great Villanova law tradition, is not to do the same thing every day. The challenge is for you to have the courage to ask, to challenge, to question what you see. Seek out the real challenges. Make the tough choices. Have the courage to make your decisions based on more than personal interest. Have the courage to make a decision without regard to the popularity of your position. You all know what you believe is right. I encourage you to stand up for it and live it. You are Villanova law. You will be great lawyers. Of that, I am sure. So I say to you today, welcome to Villanova Law School. At this point, I want to make a few quick introductions of my dean's team. You will hear after our university president, you will hear from Vice Dean Todd Aagaard. You can stand up. And then you have April Barton, my Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Michael Risch, where did you go, Michael? There you are, right in front of me. Michael Risch, the Associate Dean for Faculty Research and Development. And Jennifer Henfe, the Associate Dean for Finance and Administration and the head of our Career Strategy Office, JOB, okay? You will hear a little bit more from Vice Dean Aagaard in a minute, who will introduce the faculty. But before that, it is an honor for me to introduce the president of the university, Father Peter Donahue, and I will just take a moment to express my extraordinary gratitude to Father Peter for all he has done for me personally, to make me welcome here. It ultimately was his decision to bring me here a year ago, and I am thankful every day that he made that choice, and I'm thankful because he continues to show the leadership that supports me as the dean and all of you here in the law school. So I'm very pleased to welcome Father Peter Donahue.
They all know who I am. You don't. So I'm going to move towards you a little bit more. And my job is to welcome you not to the law school, but to welcome you to Villanova University. Villanova University is a Catholic Augustinian institution, and what I'm wearing might be a little strange to some of you, but this is referred to as our habit. This is the Augustinian habit, and it goes back a long, long way. And you will see some of the friars walking around the campus here wearing this outfit. It is a lot cooler than it looks. The people always ask, aren't you awfully hot in that thing? It's very airy, so you know it's really good. But most of us don't wear it on 95-degree days. But I'm going to tell you a little story about it, because I know some of you come from different traditions and different backgrounds, and this might be a little unusual to see somebody wearing this outfit. But when I first started my high school teaching career, way back when, a long time ago, I taught in an all-boys school in the middle of Washington, D.C. It was called Archbishop Carroll High School. And it was a very diverse school. And kids came from the young men came from all different backgrounds. And it was a very good academic school. And people made the commitment to send their young men to this school for that reason. And of course, all of us wore this outfit, and I taught freshman English. And on the first parents' night, I was standing in the room, and one of the mothers came walking in the room and just broke out laughing. And I said, "Nice to meet you." And she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh when I saw you, but my son came home every day and said, 'My English teacher wears a dress.'" And she would say, "So what's wrong with that?" And he says, "It's a man, and he wears a dress." So we don't call this a dress, we call it a habit. That much said, I'll go back to the podium now. So welcome to Villanova University. Villanova was started back in 1842 by the Augustinian friars who came here from Ireland to teach Irish immigrants. That's how the school started. So this year we are celebrating our 175th year. And it is a big celebration, and you will hear lots of it. You will hear a lot about it over the course of the year. We actually started it last year, and we're moving through it. So actually, 175 years ago, this September 10th is when the first classes were held. And so we are very proud to be celebrating that anniversary right now. But let me give you a little background about Villanova and where we came from. So Villanova started, as I said, as a school for Irish immigrants. It was an all-boys school. It wasn't a traditional, back in those days in the 1800s, colleges and universities, there were no real they weren't really looked upon that in the same way. They were kind of liberal arts education. People came and learned Greek and Latin and reading and math and things. A very traditional education. And but for the Irish Augustinians, when they came over here with a specific purpose, and that was to elevate this population of immigrants. In the city of Philadelphia at the time, the Irish were not really welcomed. They were considered very much a second-class citizen. They came with two strikes against them. They were Irish, and they were Roman Catholic. And in the city of brotherly, and as we say, sisterly love now, most of the population was of British ancestry and Quaker. And so the Roman Catholics were a little suspicious to them, and the Irish particularly were very suspicious of them. And if you know anything about history, you know that the Irish and the British didn't always see eye to eye on things. So the Irish were considered very much second-class citizens, and they had jobs like nannies and cooks and gardeners and chauffeurs and things like that, and they've really had a difficult time advancing in this new country. And so the Augustinians believed that with education, they would be able to advance. And so it was with that particular intent that the school was founded, and it was open to Irish immigrants. And over the years, I continue to say to people, we continue to be a place that welcomes immigrants. All of you come from different backgrounds, different places. You've had different experiences. You know different things. You have different kind of experiences of your families, your friends, the schools you came from, the experiences you've had, the geography you come from, wherever it might be, the neighborhoods you come from. You come with a very different experience. And you come to this place to merge together into this community. And whether you're part of the law school or the College of Engineering or the College of Nursing or the Liberal Arts College or Sciences, whatever it might be, you are part of this Augustinian community. And when we talk about an Augustinian community, it goes much beyond just the friars, because all of you are part of this community. And as Dean Alexander was just talking about the motto of the university, if you look at that seal behind me, there's two images on it that are very important. There's a book and a heart. And it's not just a heart, it's a heart that's on fire. And those are very Augustinian symbols. Because St. Augustine, who is our founder, believed very much that education or knowledge, the search for truth, begins first and foremost within oneself. And one needs to be truthful with themselves before they can be truthful with anyone else. They need to discover what's inside of them and what drives them. And so as you enter into this field of law, you will discover new things and lots of new things. And you are going to be expected to have a lot of knowledge. But that flaming heart that sits on that book says you need to do more with that knowledge. You need to become passionate about that knowledge. Knowledge must affect you both in your heart and in your mind. And you must be passionate about what you believe and passionate about what you do with it. and how you serve the greater community and why you serve them. Because ultimately, the question is why you serve them. What is the reason that drives you forward? And as you become part of this Augustinian community, you will be expected to discover in yourself what it is that you are passionate about and how you are passionate about being that for other people. St. Augustine was a brilliant man, had all kinds of things to say. I'm not suggesting any of you sit down and read all of his books. They would put you to sleep, most of them. They're very long and lengthy and theological and philosophical, but he has a lot of interesting ideas in them. And one of the things he talks about most is how do you become what you are not yet? That all of us are on a journey. One of his most famous quotes is, "We are one heart, one mind, intent upon God," intent upon that Creator. And how do we, all being a part of that Creator, all being a part of the breath of that Creator, how do we come back together? And how do we continue to use our talents and our abilities to understand more and more who we are? So the process of education, the process of faith, the process of journey, the process of life is constantly becoming what you are not yet and discovering every day what that is. Villanova Law School has a very special place on this campus. It was started back in the 1950s. And actually this property is very significant to the university, because when the Augustinians bought this property back in 1842, there were some servants on the property. An African-American family who were former slaves, who had been given their freedom by the family that lived here, that owned this estate. And when Jane Rudolph, the widow who sold them the property, she insisted that the Molden family have part of this estate and allow it to continue to work it for their benefit and the benefit of their family. And it was this part of the property that the Moldens had. And over the years, the Moldens continued to work for the university and the school as it developed, and eventually the last family member donated it back to the university. So on this spot, a very significant part of Villanova's history was formed and shaped. It was traditionally known as Mount Misery, because you had to walk up the hill to get here. You will discover why it is called Mount Misery, and it has nothing to do with the hill. But as you come here and become a part of it, just remember, there are multiple people who have walked this campus, who have built this campus, who have worked to instill in this campus the belief that all of us have value to add. And all of us contribute to this community in one way or another. And all of us join together, one heart and one mind, intent of daily becoming what we are not yet. Welcome to Villanova.
I can never outdo the Mount Misery speech. But, I am Todd Aagaard. I'm a vice dean and a professor here, and my role this morning is to introduce you to the faculty. I'm really excited to introduce my fellow members of the faculty. These are the teachers who will lead you through your transformation in the next 3 years into an attorney. They will challenge you, they will support you, and they will inspire you. They will ask you tough questions, they will edit your papers, they will review your outlines, they will talk with you about the issues of the day, and sometimes they'll just ask how you're doing. As Dean Alexander said in his opening remarks, we are a community here at Villanova, and as you heard from Father Peter as well. We are here because we want to help you learn. But beyond that, we are all also part of the community of the legal profession. As of today, you are our colleagues in that profession. Therefore, it is our duty to hold you to the highest standards of the profession, but we'll do that with the respect and the love that provides the foundation for everything that we do here at Villanova. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to each of my faculty colleagues. I'll start with myself. So I am Todd Aagaard, and I teach property, environmental law, and energy law. I'll ask each person to stand as I introduce them. Mark Alexander. In addition to being the dean, Dean Alexander teaches election law. Caitlin Berry. Professor Berry teaches the Farm Workers Legal Aid Clinic and the Race and Law course. April Barton. Dean Barton teaches administrative rulemaking and leadership and ethics and also serves, as you heard before, as the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs. Heather Baum. Professor Baum teaches legal writing in the first year. Les Book. Professor Book teaches our tax courses. Marissa Bostick. Professor Bostick teaches the first year criminal law course, as well as a seminar in advanced issues in criminal law. Andrew Brandt. Professor Brandt teaches sports law courses and is also the director of the Morad Center for Sports Law. David Breen. Professor Breen teaches our tax clinic. Doris Brogan. Professor Brogan teaches torts in the first semester, as well as privacy law, conflicts of law, and legal profession. Mike Campbell. Professor Campbell teaches our health law clinic, our health law course, and is the director of our clinical programs. Ben Carlson. Professor Carlson teaches legal research. Matt Carluzzo. Professor Carluzzo teaches academic support and our strategic legal analysis course. Candace Centeno. Professor Centeno teaches legal writing as well as medical malpractice. Steve Chanenson. Professor Chanenson teaches criminal law in the first year, as well as criminal procedure, sentencing, and he is the director of our Gerard DiCarlo Center for Ethics, Integrity, and Compliance. Karen Clapp. Professor Clapp teaches legal writing. Lori Corso. Professor Corso teaches legal research. Diane Edelman. Professor Edelman teaches legal writing and is also the director of our international programs. Is Jillian Schroeder here? Okay. Brett Frischman. Professor Frischman teaches internet law, law, economics, and technology, and being human in the 21st century, something we could all learn. Robert Hagedorn. Professor Hagedorn teaches legal research. And Giuliano. Professor Giuliano teaches civil procedure in the first year, as well as employment law and employment discrimination. Ed Leva. Professor Leva teaches tax courses and is the director of our graduate tax program. Andrew Lund. There he is. Professor Lund teaches our business law courses and is the director of the Scarpa Center for Law and Entrepreneurship. Matthew McGovern. Professor McGovern teaches legal research and is also the director of our externship program. Melanie McMenamin. Professor McMenamin teaches our law and entrepreneurship clinic. Christine Mooney. Professor Mooney teaches negotiation and mediation, trial advocacy, civil pretrial practice, and is the director of our legal writing programs and director of our professional skills programs. Michael Moreland. Professor Moreland teaches constitutional law and law and religion. Joy Mullane. Professor Mullane teaches tax courses. Mitch Nathanson. Professor Nathanson teaches legal writing. Josephine Nelson. Professor Nelson teaches business organizations, white-collar crime, and business ethics. Jennifer O'Hare. Professor O'Hare teaches business law and securities law courses. Orly Oren-Kolbinger. Professor Oren-Kolbinger teaches tax policy and empirical analysis of law. Michelle Pistone. Professor Pistone teaches our CARES clinics, which represents asylum and refugee clinic clients. Terry Ravenel. Professor Ravenel teaches civil procedure in the first year, as well as criminal procedure, civil rights, police conduct, and race and law. Michael Risch. Professor Risch teaches contracts and intellectual property courses and is also our Associate Dean for Faculty Research. Marianne Robinson. Professor Robinson teaches our legal writing courses in the second year, the transactional component. Tuan Samahan. Professor Samahan teaches civil procedure in the first year, as well as constitutional law and federal courts. Devere Segal. Professor Segal teaches the Civil Justice Clinic. Amy Spare. There she is. Professor Spare teaches legal research and is also the director of our law library. Lou Sirico. Professor Sirico teaches property in the first year, as well as land use planning, advanced legal writing, and constitutional convention. Jessica Webb. Professor Webb teaches legal writing the second year course. She teaches the litigation component. Ellen Wertheimer. Professor Wertheimer teaches torts in the first year, contracts in the first year, a Supreme Court course, and the bioethics course. And that is our faculty. So the next step, which is going to start at 11:15, I believe. Do we have the... So in your packet, at the front of your packet, there's a label in the upper left corner, and it'll say advisor and then a name after that. That is your faculty advisor. Your next thing on the program is to meet with that faculty advisor. On the back page of the agenda for today, or up here, is the name of your faculty advisor and what room you should meet in. So we'll be meeting at 11:15 in those rooms with your faculty advisor. Welcome to Villanova Law.